Hey everybody, good to see you again. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering what we're up to here at the Red Barn, we generally focus on a couple of Hot Rod 914s. We've got the LS3 swap car here, and this episode's back focusing on the Ferrari 360 swapped car. The motor's out being serviced, belt service and cam timing and a couple other things. And so I'm focusing on the engine compartment and a few other things to get it all ready to go, to put the motor all the way together and back in the car one last time before we try and fire it. So I'm bouncing around on a few different things in preparation for that. And then the other thing we do here is my wife and I are involved in a cat rescue here in Petaluma called Morty's. And right now we have a litter with us. And so if you stay tuned till the end, we'll do a quick kitty check-in on those guys. Hope you enjoy. You know, you think you're done with something, and then it turns out you're not. And what's going on here is I got to take the axles back apart, and you can see why. These boots have to get up over these lips, and you might also be able to see that because of the clearance of the boot needs, because they're kind of thick, and these are a larger diameter, it doesn't quite get underneath these force distribution washers. I'm not sure what they're called, torque distribution washers. And what happens is the boot starts peeling back, and there's no room to get any kind of clamp under there because it runs into the back side of this washer. So I sourced a couple of the factory components off of some used axles I had, and now I'm going to replace this inner piece with that piece, and I can use, I'm going to see if these might be too big, and if not, I've got some regular sized boots. And if you recall, this was because the angle that these things have to get to, that's the end that's inside the trailing arm, and at full droop, these long boots like this one, this edge, because when you get this thing cranked all the way over, that edge runs into and interferes with the inside of the opening of the trailing arm. So I needed to get these tapering boots. So I'm going to pull these off, which means I got to take the CV off, which means I got to deal with all this wonderful CV grease. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and swap these out now. Have I told you how much I hate CV grease? Okay, anyway, that's both of those swapped, and I just pop them back in the original axle boxes that I got, and it's just a nice tidy way to keep things stored. And then on the whole other end of the spectrum of tidiness, there is the resurfaced Ferrari flywheel. And a local machine shop did that for me. It was 85 bucks, which is about what resurfacing flywheels cost, so no expected or no unexpected costs there. So that's good. Well, and some good news. I heard back from Patrick Otis, and the motor should be back from its belt service, cam timing, and a few other miscellaneous service item things. Should be back in about a week. They are squeezing me in between some Pebble Beach cars that they're doing and some other stuff. So I'm working on a couple of items until the motor comes back. One of them is, as I mentioned, I wanted to do the back side of these suspension consoles. So I just worked up my little aluminum piece to give me a rough shape, and then transfer that shape onto some appropriate steel and get that cut out on the bandsaw. And then with that piece all trimmed, fit, dressed, painted up on the inside, it's ready to be tacked on. And as before, I'm going to MIG tack it because it's about 1,000,000 times easier, holding it in place. And then once I'm happy with where it's sitting, hard to get around the backside. I'll have to take the trailing arm off to get all that welding done. That's gonna have to do it for now. I'm gonna have to pull the wheel off, get it back up off the ground, and come in from the backside. But that at least gets it put on there. And I think, as you can see, a lot prettier than that. So once that's all welded and dressed like the other one, I think that's going to look a lot better. A lot better. Now I'll just whip up the other side, get it up to this same point, and then come back with the TIG and get it all final welded and dressed. And then with the bend line marked to get it to fit the shape of the console, we get that positioned and make a little bend. I think it's about that far. Let's see how good my guess is. It could be a little teeny bit more. Just a little teeny. Actually, no, that's not right. It's actually, there's another angle in these right here. And part of that's because I welded the support. There's a little, if you look back to a bunch of segments ago, there's a half moon mount or component of this engine cradle mount that's welded on the back side here. You can see part of this here, and it slightly changed the shape. So I can probably bend this into position, just tweak it a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and put a teeny little break in this. And I might pull that one off and do the same thing, just because, just the teeniest little break. Yeah, from that corner to that corner. Be right back. All right, and you can see I just put a teeny little bit of a break there. And now the thing just completely locks down on there. No rock anywhere. Very good. All right, so that's that. I got to paint the inside of this, make sure that's ready for welding, and then this one will be ready to go on. Okay, and then both of those are now tacked on the front edge and just dressed a teeny bit in preparation for final welding. So that looks a billion times better. And again, hard to tell, but you know, when you look down in there, it fills it out. It makes it look a lot beefier, and it just finishes it off. Again, not that you'll ever see it, but I'm happy with that. So onward with other stuff. And that other stuff, we're back to wiring. And I don't know why I was forgetting. I had a lot more to do than I thought. I'm thinking, oh, I just have to hook up the ignition switch. Yeah, well, this is all of the wires that have to go to the front of the car. Now, I don't have to have these all hooked up to get it running, because some of this stuff is like, you know, turn signals and cruise control and wipers and stuff like that. But what I do have to do is I have to mount the power management unit, and that drives the fans, and not that I have to have them to get it started, but it also drives the fuel pump. So I do have to have that wired up. So I have to get it mounted. I have to run a CAN connection from one of the CAN bus plugs. I got to run just that little 4-wire bundle up to the power distribution unit, which it's going to mount right down in the footwell, which means I got to run a CAN bus wire from that connector you just saw up along the tunnel, and then whoops, into the bundle that carries that that connection to the power management unit, and then route wires up to the front. So I think I have everything. I have everything mapped. It's now just a question of you know, figuring out wire routing and all that good stuff. And like I said, that's got to get done so the fuel pump works. And yeah, I got to wire the fuel pump up. It's already, you know, the lines are run, so I'm almost there. But I got a bit more wiring to do than I remembered. So I'm going to get on to that. Okay, now the trailing arm is off, and you can see I've got the back side of that fit, and it's just MIG tacked. I was able to clamp it and get a good tight fit. If you hear background noise, it's very windy here, which is why the main door is closed, because TIG welding and wind do not mix. It blows the shielding gas away, makes a horrible mess. So let me go ahead and get this welded. Well, there you go. Some not too bad out of position welding. I don't weld upside down very often. And welding on the bench is only about 1,000,000 times easier than when you're stuck doing this. Going downhill's not bad though, but I'm really happy with how that's turning out. Now I got to do this side. I won't bother filming that, but we're nearly done with this chassis stuff. Well, and then before I go on to the other side, I just couldn't help but go after the welds a little bit, and you can see I got one little kind of pinhole there. I can go back and fill that, or just do that with body filler. And you can see I still have some scratches. I just hit it very lightly with the DA just to kind of get it finished off, but that gives you an idea of what this whole thing's going to look like. Again, really happy with it, and it looks almost like it was made that way. Kind of has me rethinking this section though. This was part that was done before I got here. I might grind part of that weld out and see if I can, just tidy that little lip up. If it was me, I would have put the plate from here down to there and just finished that edge just like these edges. So this whole thing looked like just one big chunk, almost like it was cast and then attached to the car. But you really are going to have a hard time seeing that, so I'm not too worried about it. This is going to be mostly visible up here, and then if you take a real peek, you'll be able to catch this. So yeah, there we go. Almost completely done with this one now. And rather than go back and forth on doing the same stuff, I figured I'd just wrap this one up by doing the underneath panel. Here you can see the underneath panel's all done too. Just welded across here, plug welded up the side and the back. And what I did, just to make it look a little nicer, is I worked up a pattern and then just bent a 90 on this piece, trimmed this piece back up just a teeny bit to make it fit, and I get a really natural, curve here, rather than, not that this looks bad, but it's a little sharp maybe. This one is a nice radius. It looks really good. It's completely straight. So really happy with that. But this thing's all done now. Everything's finished. Again, maybe I go after this, but in terms of structure, this is all done. You can see, now you can really see there's a little bit of an indent right here that I have to get some body filler in, I think. And then this is gonna get, like I said, either body filler or a wipe a seam sealer. So that'll look like a single surface. But anyway, there you go. One reinforced console, and now you can see, right? This one, oh, and yeah, so what I did on the other side is I extended the panel, again, came down from here, 90 across to this side, and plug welded it to the underside of the long. And then this is all primed and everything and closed up, and then welded across here, and that little 90 was just welded down that seam. So very tidy, actually, right? It looks really good. I'm very happy with that. And with all that progress done on the suspension consoles and the axles and getting the wiring stuff prepared for the full court press to get this thing fired, I'm gonna call it for this week. So getting there. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Please leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Oh, stay tuned for the kitties, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Everybody take care now. Bye-bye. Okay, and this week it's going to be, oh, they're all crazy kitties.
Hi, you guys.
They're all crazy. Taking in the non-kitty litter. So this is another little maybe you didn't know, but when they're little kitties, it's important that they don't get litter, that if they eat it, it's important that it doesn't clump. So because otherwise they could get a blockage. And yeah, it's afternoon, a little bit windy outside, but they're all doing great. Hi Fiesta, look at this little one. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. And here's a couple of the boys. There's Raver and Shindig. There's Jubilee, and there's the Bash Man. Look at this. Hi buddy, how are you? How are you? Yes, oh, little squeaker. Little squeaker. Hi, squeaker. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Hey, Bash. Hey, buddy. What's that? What's that? Oh, and, it's new, therefore we must explore. What is that? It's new. And may as well talk a little bit about a couple things we've mentioned in the past with kitties, and that is give them plenty of things to scratch, right? They've got the cardboard scratchers. They've got the cat trees. They've got specific scratching things. And as long as they've got stuff to scratch, they typically do not go after furniture. And You know, it's nail trims. If you're worried about the little ninja needle daggers that they have on their end of their paws, but never, ever, 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 ever declaw a cat. It's the same as cutting off your finger at the first knuckle. And it's a horrible thing for them. Can lead to emotional problems and all kinds of stuff. So never declaw your cat, always nail trim. You can get super easy to use nail trimmers online. And two people, somebody scruffs the kitty, grab them by the back of the neck and hold on to them. And, which is why we handle these guys and constantly touch their toes. You touch their toes so they get used to it. Oh, yeah, they're still not quite used to it. These are two of the shy ones too. But you know, socializing, grabbing them, rubbing them all the time, and getting them used to being handled is really important. So you can do things like nail trims. And
if you're not comfortable doing your own nail trims, oftentimes there are traveling vet techs who will come to your home and do it for you.
And I will happily confess that we have a local vet tech that we love. She's great, and we use her almost all the time for everything. So if we have to be away and we need somebody to take care of them for a day, kind of a thing, we have her come over, and she comes over and does nail trims and things like that. So, oh, look at that. That's the Rave boy. That's Raver. Hi. What are you doing there, buddy? What is that? Hi. And there's Shindig. Hi. Hi, Shindig. Hi, Shindig. Jubilee. Anyway, there he is. Just kind of a quiet afternoon. Oh, Squeakers. What's she doing? She's got something. Everybody's very excited. So anyway, yeah, that's it for the kitties this week. Just a quick one, but they're all doing great. And it looks like they're on target for the June spay and neuter clinic. And once they're recovered and there's room at Morty's, they'll be down there, and we'll take you down and show you how they do at Morty's. Until next time, enjoy.